What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Lions video. Now, the uploads have not been happening over the past couple of days. I apologize for that. Of course, not for lack of content, as the Detroit Lions are welcoming in their 2021 NFL draft class, as Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell just completed their first complete full draft class for the Detroit Lions. And today we are going to be recapping the draft. Today we are going to be going over everything from pick number 7 to pick number 257, from the first player to the last player, giving a grade, giving a quick analysis, and really going in depth to talk about Brad Holmes's first class. However, before we get into it and before we get into recapping the Detroit Lions 2021 draft class, if you're new to the channel and you are enjoying the content, please consider liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It takes just 2 seconds out of your day to do so. It's quick, free, and easy, and you would be helping the channel out more than you could possibly know. And if you do enjoy the content, you could always become a member to receive special daily perks such as early videos and special custom member-only live streams. But with that being said, and with all that being out of the way, let's get into recapping and grading the Detroit Lions 2021 NFL draft class. Now, as I said, this was Brad Holmes's and Dan Campbell's first NFL draft as the head coach and general manager of the Detroit Lions. And in my opinion, I thought they smashed it. I thought they hit it out of the park, home run after home run after home run. I mean, they absolutely killed this draft class, starting with the number 7 overall pick in the entirety of the draft. The Detroit Lions decided to go offensive line. They finished off the offensive line as they selected Penei Sewell, the offensive tackle out of Oregon. Now, Penei Sewell is a guy that we have talked about over and over and over again, and I talked about multiple times being the absolute ideal pick for the Detroit Lions. Penei Sewell, in his 1,376 snaps at Oregon, only allowed one sack on the quarterback, and that sack did come in his true freshman season. Penei Sewell has been awarded the Outland Trophy. He's been named Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Year. He was a unanimous All-American. He received, over the 2 years he played of college football, he received over 28 unique awards, as well as multiple namings as Offensive Player of the Month and Offensive Player of the Week. He was, in my opinion, the second best player in the entire draft, only behind the great Trevor Lawrence. You know, in my opinion, he was the second best player in this class. Falling all the way to 7 is something that should not have happened, and the Lions wanted him. This was the Detroit Lions guy. Of course, on draft night, you saw the reaction when the Bengals passed on Penei Sewell. You saw the reaction when they actually got to select the potential Hall of Fame talent out of Oregon. I mean, I even talked with Brad Holmes. I was at the Lions facility. I was in Allen Park. He came and talked with us for a while, and he said that they wanted Penei Sewell. Penei Sewell was their guy. They thought about trading up. They thought about trading up to 5 to go get him, and they decided to wait and see what the Bengals did. The Bengals passed. The Lions even thought about maybe trading up to the 6th overall spot because they were worried Carolina would trade up with Miami. They almost traded up multiple times in that first round. However, they stayed patient, they stayed confident, and in the end, their guy fell to them in Penei Sewell. He was, as Brad Holmes said, their number 1 guy on the board. He was the guy that they were crossing their fingers, crossing their toes for, and luckily enough, by just the absolute thinnest margin, somehow, someway, Penei Sewell fell to the 7th overall selection. In my opinion, was the second best player in the class, by far the best player on the board, and by far the best selection for the Detroit Lions. Now, moving on to day 2 with the 41st pick in the 2021 NFL draft, the Detroit Lions decided to go defensive line. They could have addressed Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. They could have addressed the linebacker position, which is what I thought they were going to do and what I was actually hoping that they were going to do at the time of selection. However, instead of that, they decided to beef up their defensive line with the number 1 defensive tackle in this draft class in Washington's Levi Onwuzurike. Now, Onwuzurike was a disruptive player for the Washington Huskies, played in 32 games as a Washington football player. He had 95 total tackles, 16 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, didn't have any forced fumbles, didn't really have the flashiest statistics. However, as I said, he was a disruptive player. He was a guy that was pretty versatile for the Washington Huskies. He is very, very strong. He has a very, very good mindset for a defensive tackle. I mean, they talked with him as soon as he was drafted. He was brought in and was kind of introduced to the media. The first thing he said is that he likes effing people up. He likes being disruptive. He likes throwing off game plans. He just likes being an effing monster in the middle. Like, and those are his words, not mine. Like, he just loves playing football. He has a great mindset. He loves being disruptive, loves throwing things off, loves throwing off offensive schemes, loves throwing off offensive momentum. As I said, he's very strong, very good at throwing people out of the way. He's going to be a really solid player, is likely going to be a day one starter for the Detroit Lions. As I said, arguably the number one defensive tackle in the class. The Lions in the first round went offensive tackle and finished the offensive line, and in the second and third rounds, they went and finished off their defensive trenches. They addressed both the trenches early, and I feel and I think that that was the exact move that the Detroit Lions should have gone with. Now, there's an argument, as I said, that the Lions should have gone with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. However, I do like the fact that they built up the trenches. I do like the fact that they got a top defensive tackle prospect in this draft class, and I do like the pick of Levi Onwuzurike. He should be a day one starter and should be a guy to be very versatile, very disruptive, and a big time playmaker for the Detroit Lions for the foreseeable future. Now, at the 72nd pick for the Detroit Lions, they went back-to-back defensive tackles, as with the 72nd pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions elected to select Alim McNeill, the defensive tackle out of NC State. Now, Alim McNeill did have significantly better production in a Power 5 conference than Levi Onwuzurike. Alim McNeill played in 32 games just like Levi. However, he did total 77 tackles with 17.5 tackles for loss, 10 sacks, an interception, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, and that interception did actually go back to be a touchdown for NC State. Now, as I said, very similarly to Levi, Alim McNeill is just a very disruptive player. He had better production. He was in a Power 5 conference, so it's not like he was playing in like the Sun Belt. It's not like he was playing in the MAC. He was playing in a Power 5 conference. He was playing in the ACC. He had really good production as a defensive lineman. I believe had the highest pressure percentage in the entirety of college football last year, with Levi being in that third place position. Like, both of these defensive tackles are disruptive. Both of these guys can be real impact players in the pass rush. Both of these guys can help shut down the run early. Early in the draft, it was very evident that Brad Holmes, that Dan Campbell wanted to build a team built on toughness, wanted to build a team that they're going to play power football for 60 minutes. They're going to hit you in the mouth. They're going to run over you. They're going to run through you. And 45 minutes into the game, when you are battered and bruised and when your team is tired and defeated, they are going to be fresh. They are going to be ready to go, and they are going to continue to run and run and run the ball. This is going to be a run-first team. This is going to be a team that run first. They're going to be a run-first offense. They're going to focus on stopping the run early, setting the offense behind the chains more often than not, and that is where you are going to see a lot of defensive success for the Detroit Lions a year from now, and both Alim McNeill and Levi Onwuzurike are going to help with that. And then with the final pick on night 2, the Detroit Lions with the 101st pick in the NFL Draft, with the pick that they received for the late, great Matthew Stafford, they selected Ifeatu Melifonwu, cornerback out of Syracuse. Now, Ifeatu actually played in 23 games for the Syracuse Orange, totaling 88 total tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 3 interceptions, and 19 passes defended. Now, there is no way, no reason that Ifeatu should have been there at the 101st overall pick. However, he was. The Lions saw him as the best player on the board, as did I, and they decided to take him with the 101st selection. Now, Ifeatu Melifonwu was a great value pick. He was a huge steal in the NFL Draft. You could possibly see him moving to safety. He has the size. He's 6'2". He has the speed. He was really, really athletic, had a great RAS score. He's not afraid to tackle. I mean, he is actually a really good tackler for the cornerback position. The Lions actually didn't address safety in this draft class like I thought they were going to. However, Ifeatu Melifonwu or Jeff Okudah could both possibly be moved to the safety position along with Tracy Walker, that could solidify that. There's a lot of different ways you can use Ifeatu. He could be used at safety. He could be used at boundary cornerback. You could play him in the slot if you need to. There's a lot of different ways the Lions could go with him. They got a versatile secondary weapon for Aaron Glenn to use. Ifeatu is one of the most athletic cornerbacks in the draft class. There was no reason. He probably should have been gone middle of round 2, lasted till late round 3. He was an absolute steal. He was one of my favorite value picks in the draft, and I thought this was a really, really good pickup for the Detroit Lions. Well, now on day 3, starting off day 3, a phenomenal pick by, and whoever announced it was just really good at that. They should probably do that for a living. The fan of the year that happened to be announcing the 112th pick, I thought did a phenomenal job. They selected Amon-Ra St. Brown, the wide receiver out of USC. Amon-Ra played 30 games for the Trojans, had 178 receptions for 2,270 yards, along with 16 receiving touchdowns. Again, a theme in this draft class was value. They got talent. They got value throughout the entire draft class. Amon-Ra St. Brown is no different. He plays way above his size. He does only stand at 5'11". However, he does play far above his size. He does have a really good vertical. He does, get up in the air relatively high. Is pretty good at high pointing. Even at 5'11", he, as I said, plays very much above his size. Does create pretty good separation. Does have really good hands. Overall, should have been a wide receiver taken in day 2. Should have been a wide receiver arguably taken in round 2, if not early in round 3. Somehow he lasted until the 4th round of the NFL draft. And with the 112th selection, by far the best player on the board, by far the best player available. He was selected, as I said, whoever announced it, whoever's out there, if you're listening, phenomenal job. That's all I'm saying. But great pick by the Lions, great announcement by the fan of the year. All around, great moment for Amon-Ra St. Brown and great pickup for the Detroit Lions. Now, the Lions actually traded up yet again, and they actually selected back-to-back picks. They selected Amon-Ra St. Brown at 112, and then at 113, they actually decided to take Derrick Barnes, the linebacker from Purdue. Now, Barnes played in 39 games for the Purdue Boilermakers, totaling 226 tackles for 25 tackles for loss, 10.5 sacks, 1 interception, 3 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery. Now, he did play in 4 years at Purdue, so he was a senior this season. However, again, theme of the draft class was value. Theme of the draft class was getting talent, and that's exactly what they did. Barnes is not an incredible coverage linebacker, but I don't think it's necessarily a weakness in his game. I think it's something that he's very capable of doing. I think Barnes can cover if you need him to do so. Now, if the Lions are smart, they're not going to put him in coverage too many times. They're going to let him go after the quarterback. They're going to let him run and chase and get tackles for loss and tackle the running back for a very short gain. If they're smart, that is how they are going to use that player. If they're smart, that is how they're going to use Derrick Barnes. But even if you need to put him in coverage, or for some reason he does have to cover, if he's put in a situation where he does have to be a coverage linebacker, he can do it. Of course, that 1 interception and those 3 passes defended are proof alone that he can cover somebody. Again, not his strength and not something that I'm hoping the Lions put him in a position to do a lot. However, he's just an all-around solid player. Does not have a ton of weaknesses to his game. Was great value with the 113th spot there. You could make the argument that Jabril Cox was going to be a better player, is a better coverage guy, and is something the Lions could use. However, you could also make the argument that Jabril Cox does struggle to tackle, which is something that you don't see with Derrick Barnes. So the Lions take Derrick Barnes at 113. They clean up that tackling issue that they had a year ago. They get a linebacker that can, arguably could start day 1, depending on how he does in training camp and depending on how he plays in the preseason. You could potentially see him play as a starter by the end of the 2021 class. And then they actually, in that trade, traded up and they got a 7th round pick in this class, where at the 257th spot and with the last selection in the 2021 class, the Lions went out and they got Jermar Jefferson, running back out of Oregon State. In the 2020 season alone for the Beavers, Jermar Jefferson actually totaled 133 attempts for 858 yards and 7 touchdowns. Now, he did that in just 6 games at Oregon State. He was not supposed to be there in the 7th round. He was a 5th round guy at the worst. Amazing value for the Detroit Lions. A running back that arguably was, I'm not going to say top 10, but a guy that should not have been there in the 7th round. A running back that was projected to go off the board early on day 3 somehow fell. He's shifty. He's explosive. He's a really, really good running back out of the Pac-12. I think he has a chance to, of course, make the roster as a 7th-round pick, but I actually think he has the potential to maybe even see a little bit of playing time throughout the NFL season. Now, I don't think he's going to start over DeAndre Swift. I don't think he's going to start over Jamal Williams, and I don't think he's going to start over Kerryon Johnson. However, he will likely make the team as that 4th running back. It's going to be either him or Raheem Boyd, the undrafted free agent running back that we ended up picking up. It's going to be one of those two being the 4th running back on the roster, and no matter who wins that battle, no matter who ends up winning that running back 4 battle, we are going to have a very, very solid running back room because of the Jermar Jefferson pick as well as the Raheem Boyd pickup. Now, that was the entirety of the Detroit Lions draft class. However, they did sign a bunch of UDFAs. I believe as of recording this on Sunday afternoon, they have, I believe, 13 to 15 UDFAs already on the roster, and 2 of them to me stand out. Of course, I already mentioned Raheem Boyd, who I think is going to compete for that running back 4 position. I think him and Jermar Jefferson are going to be 2 running backs that are going to get a lot of carries in the preseason, are going to get a lot of reps throughout the offseason and throughout training camp and OTAs and stuff like that. They're going to get a ton of opportunity, and whoever can stay healthy the longest, whoever can put up better production, and whoever looks better is going to make the roster as the 4th running back. I think Raheem can push for that spot. I've watched him since he came out of Indy. He then went to Arkansas. He was on Last Chance U. I've watched him since then. I've kept up with him since then. I've watched him at Arkansas. He can be a really good player. He can be a big play threat if he's healthy, and I think he's a really, really big UDFA pickup. And then Sage Surratt was also a wide receiver that probably should have gone rounds 5 to 6, probably should have gone somewhere in there, but was a UDFA and was a guy that was picked up yet again by Brad Holmes, being a quick thinker, being a guy on top of things. He got a huge undrafted free agent class, guys that are going to come in and compete every single day, and Sage Surratt and Raheem Boyd are guys that I genuinely think can make the roster. Now, there were a couple other guys. There was a tight end out of Ohio State that I liked. There was a cornerback out of Arkansas that I liked. There was another wide receiver, I believe, out of Arkansas State that looked really, really solid. Like, there was some really good value in undrafted free agency that I thought was really, really good for the Detroit Lions, that they ended up bringing in all that extra talent, especially after a really solid draft class. If I were to grade this draft class, I would give it an A- overall. I thought Brett Holmes did very, very well, and the only reason I give it an A- is because of personal bias one way or another. Now, I'm not saying that any of these picks were bad. I thought all of these picks were very, very good, and I think all of these picks can be really, really crucial and can be big parts of the Lions organization for many years to come. However, just based off my personal grades, I do give it an A-. In my opinion, I think that Davion Nixon was a little bit better than Alim McNeill. Both of them were available at the pick. I kind of wish they took him instead of Alim McNeill. However, again, I'm not mad at that pick, but because of my personal grades on players, there's that pick. I would have taken, Davion Nixon over Alim McNeill. I probably would have taken Jabril Cox over Derrick Barnes, And, arguably, I think there's an argument to be made that you could have taken Ardarius Washington, the safety out of TCU, over Jermar Jefferson. However, with that being said, with, just my personal grades and my personal opinions and biases, with that put aside, I think this is a really good class. I think this is going to be an impactful class. You have Penei Sewell, you have Levi, you have Alim, you have Ifeatu, you have Amon-Ra, Derrick Barnes. Those players are going to have immediate impact for the Detroit Lions. You could see 6 of these 7 rookies have significant playing time and have a really big impact for the Lions roster in 2021. So overall, I give this class an A-. The only reason it is at an A- and not at an A is, again, because I think Davion Nixon was a little better than Alim, because I think, you could say Jabril Cox was a little better than Derrick Barnes, but by no means do I think there was a bad pick. By no means was there a single reach. Every single pick was tremendous value for the Detroit Lions, and Brad Holmes in one offseason has set this Lions team up to be very, very successful in the near future. Now, with all that being said, that is all I have for you guys today. We're going to be back throughout the week, going over every single draft pick individually, going into more depth, going a little bit more in depth, and getting a much larger and broader analysis of each and every pick. Of course, starting with Penei Sewell and working our way down the draft board to Jermar Jefferson. If you guys like it, maybe we even go into Sage Surratt, Raheem Boyd, and some of the other undrafted free agents. But with that being said, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank thank you all so very much for watching the video. It is so good to be back recording, and it is so good to have a phenomenal draft class behind us and set us up for very, very good future success. But with all that being said, that is all I have for you guys today. As I said, if you're new to the channel and you enjoy the content, please consider liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It takes just 2 seconds out of your day. It's quick, free, and easy, and you'd be helping the channel out more than you could know. But until next time, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you all so very much for watching the video, and until next time, and as always, go Lions!